How's it going, everyone? So I just wanted to talk to you guys for a minute about a concept in filmmaking that, well, basically it's important. And, I'm aware of the fact that at this point, a lot of content is geared towards social media, and perhaps this type of stuff doesn't necessarily apply to as many people as it did 20, 30 years ago, because filmmaking is not necessarily, it's not valued perhaps in the same way that it used to be. In other words, it used to be looked at as a true art form, like being a musician or something like that. And now it's all about social media and everything. So it's kind of an odd situation, trying to sort of like communicate filmmaking concepts and screenwriting concepts when other than like large scale special effects heavy commercial films. I mean, yeah, there's still a film scene, of course. There's independent movies, there's film festivals, but it's like a very tight-knit community, and outside of that community, like, it's all kind of social media. But anyway, so I just wanted to talk about this concept. To those of you who know who Sid Field is, or Robert McKee, then you're probably on the right path already. So, so what I want to basically mention is that, like, so for starters, material is the foundation for all good movies. In other words, it comes down to the story. So in other words, you've got essentially three elements to filmmaking, or to putting together a feature film, that have to all kind of line up. You have the money, you've got the material, and then you have the talent. So actors, actresses, you've got above the line, below the line. Okay, so below the line is, all these, I don't want to say blue collar, but it's all the non-creative positions. Gaffers, electricians, catering, all that stuff. Above the line is all the creative positions. Actors, actresses, directors, all that stuff. But anyway, so you got basically the money, the talent, and the material. So you have two options with the material. You can either find material and basically pay people to read the material and then tell you whether the material is worthy of having money invested. So you basically hire screenwriting or screenplay readers to read the material and give you what's called coverage on the material. It's basically like a form where they just rate the strength of the different components of the material. So you can either find the material or you can create the material. So if you're going to be one of the people who creates the material because you want to be a hyphenation, a writer-director, then you have to obviously learn the craft of screenwriting and storytelling, the principles of storytelling. So either find the material or create the material. Okay, other than that, you gotta get some money. Okay, so that's essentially the same skill set as an entrepreneur, somebody who raises capital. It's that simple. You're raising capital, just like an entrepreneur. The talent, okay, that's not that complicated. You can get the phone numbers for talent agencies and set up auditions, set up casting sessions, and that's how you find the talent. You just be clear with them about what you're looking for exactly, and they'll set things up, and then you find who you're looking for, who fits the roles. Last but not least, those are the three primary elements, but so let's say you line up all those things. You got the money, you got the material, you got the talent. Now it's just a matter of pretty much finding the locations that you're going to need to film at for, whatever scenes you have in that material, and then hiring a crew. Staffing yourself with whatever you need, camera people, whatever, electricians, whatever. But anyway, what I just wanted to talk about is one core principle with storytelling itself. So this is on the screenwriting side. So there's only really, there's three elements to creating a film, or to putting a film together, but also there's three components to the material itself. So you've got character, plot, structure. That's what you have. So in other words, if you were to break down the material side of the equation, then you have those three elements in the material: plot, structure, character. So something to be aware of is that basically structure and plot are secondary to character. I mean, it's not so much that they're secondary, that's probably the wrong word, but what I'm really saying is that character is the foundation for the other two. In other words, if you think of any memorable movie, let's say we'll use Pulp Fiction as an example, you don't remember, oh, that was a brilliant plot, because that plot is, I mean, I don't want to call it a contrived mess, but like, yeah, to artsy people and intelligent people, it looks like a really brilliant plot, but it mostly looks like a brilliant plot because it's taking a lot of energy to follow the plot. And the structure is a non-linear structure, but if you analyze it one layer deeper, actually, it's a series of linear stories that are basically rearranged and mixed up, like puzzle pieces. So in other words, you got the puzzle, all right, here, we have these 3 stories or these 4 stories, one being about, John Travolta taking Uma Thurman out to dinner and then, her overdosing and all that. Then you've got The Gold Watch with Bruce Willis, so on and so forth. But the point is that you have these 3 or 4 individual stories that are actually linear in themselves, but because they are sort of, they're depicted back to back and they're jumbled up, they're sort of rearranged, the story looks non-linear. But if you analyze it, it's actually just multiple linear stories that are conjoined and rearranged in a way where, as a whole, it looks non-linear. So, anyway, so Pulp Fiction, though. Okay, yeah, you do have, at least on the superficial level, a unusual structure, this non-linear structure. But actually, objectively, if you know what you're talking about, it's actually still traditional structure in the sense that it's multiple linear stories, again, that are conjoined and jumbled up to appear to be like breaking the mold of, linear storytelling and, to appear to be really original. But the fact is, it's the same old formula, just rearranged in an intelligent manner. So, okay, that's the structure, this nonlinear structure. The plot, right, you've got the briefcase, and everybody, John Travolta, Sam Jackson, they're trying to recover the briefcase. Anyway, so that, that's the story itself. In other words, you could look at, or you could define the plot as event design. In other words, it's literally the series of specific events that occurs from point A, the beginning of the movie, to point Z, the end of the movie. So the structure is right, linear, non-linear, whatever. The plot is the series of events that occurs from A to Z, and then there's the characters. So, but try and imagine it like this. Like when you think of Pulp Fiction, do you think, oh yeah, that was like the structure of that movie. It was so non-linear. Do you think, oh, that was such an intense story, like the briefcase, or do you kind of remember the characters? Oh yeah, Uma Thurman, that was crazy when she's in the bathroom doing coke. That line where she's sitting at the table and she's like, do you ever notice how unusual it is to be able to shut the fuck up around somebody comfortably and blah, blah. You remember the characters. You remember the dialogue. You remember that dance scene at Jackrabbit Slim's between Travolta and Uma Thurman. You remember Eric Stoltz and, God, what's that chick's name? The crazy chick. Ah, man. His wife in the movie. I forget the actress's name, but the one... she kind of actually looks very similar to the chick at the beginning of the movie who plays Honey Bunny, but she's one of those actresses that kind of looks like a methy kind of, that's judgmental as fuck, I know, but it's true. She kind of just looks like a methy kind of, anyway, doesn't matter. The point is you remember the characters. You remember the wolf, Harvey Keitel's character. Okay, and Harvey Keitel was responsible to some extent for getting Tarantino's career off the ground because the screenplay for Reservoir Dogs happened because it was given to an actor or an actress at the Actors Studio in New York and then forwarded to Harvey Keitel, who liked it, and started making some phone calls to his friends and then got it off the ground. Naturally he got a role in Reservoir Dogs because he facilitated the whole thing, and Then he gets the role in Pulp Fiction, so on and so forth. But the point is, you remember the characters. The Wolf, John Travolta and Uma Thurman at Jackrabbit Slims. What I'm saying is the characters are really what stick with you about a movie. The plot and the structure are important, but if you have truly original, interesting, memorable characters, generally it'll work. So here's the concept that I actually wanted to talk about in this video. All that stuff that I just talked about right now is basically just a setup to talk about this. Okay, so what makes interesting characters is, well, again, you got Sid Field and Robert McKee, these two, very well-known sort of screenwriting gurus in the screenwriting realm or the entertainment industry. Well, that's where this concept came from, and they used Tarantino as the example for this concept, which is why I cited Pulp Fiction there. But it's true characterization versus, or excuse me, scratch that. It is true character versus characterization. So true character is essentially somebody's inner character. In other words, it's their belief systems, it's their principles, it's their perspective on life. It's like, let's say a car accident happened in front of this person's face. How would this character react when that car accident happens? Perfect example. The movie What Dreams May Come. Well, the event that leads to, in other words, Robin Williams gets killed at the beginning of the movie because he witnesses a car crash. What does he do when he witnesses that car crash? He's a doctor. It's in his nature to try to help people. So he jumps out of his car and goes and tries to help the victims of the accident. He gets slammed by a car, dead. Boom. And now here we are. Now we're in this like crazy painting version of heaven or the afterlife. But see, the point is, true character, it's what, in other words, what a person would do if they witnessed a car accident, In other words, are they the kind of person that rush in, or that will rush in, or are they the kind of person that will run away? So another way to imagine it is like this. Let's say the character hears a baby crying in a nearby building that is on fire. What will they do? Will they run in the building? Will they call 911? Will they run away? Will they knock on a neighbor's door and say, I need help? What will they do? So anyway, true character, it's all the inner stuff. Again, belief systems, perspectives, principles. What will they do in these situations that test their character? That's true character. Then characterization is essentially their external image. It's the clothes they wear, it's the car they drive, it's, to some extent, it's the way they talk, their body language. It's basically the way they want to be perceived by the outside world. It's the part of town that they live in. So generally, when there's a contradiction between a character's true character versus their characterization, you have an interesting character. You have a character that will be memorable to an audience. And funny enough, you find that in life, this is actually true as well to some extent, that the people we find ourselves the most interested in, the most attracted to, have this contradiction or this disconnect between their true character and their characterization. I mean, some people are completely repulsed by that type of a person. In other words, they want somebody where there's absolutely no disconnect, there's absolutely no contradiction. In other words, every word that comes out of their mouth, every behavior, every action completely lines up with their inner nature and, blah, 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 blah. And that's awesome, and there are those people out there, but on an instinctive level, a lot of times without even realizing why, we tend to be interested in or attracted to people where there's this contradiction between their true character and their characterization. They come off as dynamic and sort of mysterious, and we want to learn more, and we want to understand what makes them tick, because it seems like there's a lot more substance than we can really gather just by knowing them superficially, and so we kind of get sucked in. But anyway, so the purpose of this video was to clarify this concept of true character versus characterization, and that contradiction between the two is generally what causes compelling characters. Let's put it this way, it's one of the factors So the contradiction between true character and characterization, it's one of the factors that most memorable characters have. So I'll talk about some of the other factors in later videos. So I'm going to throw this out there at the end of this video right here. So up until 3 months ago, I was an airline pilot, and well, Cody, you know that that's a lie. I wasn't actually an airline pilot until 3 months ago, but I became an airline pilot in the recent past, within the last 18 months. Part 135 operation, to any of you who know anything about aviation. And anyway, so it got to the point where I was going to end up flying Part 121. So that's like the regional airlines. It was actually SkyWest, but I decided to switch paths because the truth is, since I was 16 years old, I always wanted to be a career filmmaker, but I never went for it out of insecurity or whatever. Fear of failure, maybe even fear of success. But, in other words, I'm at that point in my life where I can feel the clock ticking, and I'm like, okay, I can't wait any longer. If I'm going to do whatever I want to do with my time and my future, I need to do it now. So look, I know about as much on a theoretical level when it comes to filmmaking as, the best of them, And I have actually shot some stuff before, short films. I actually shot one feature-length film that was kind of like really avant-garde. But anyway, the point is, I'm trying to become a full-blown career filmmaker on every level. Screenwriter, director, film producer. And I'm trying to connect to the other people out there who are on this path and who are serious, because this is it for me, man. So if you're on that path, get in contact and let's work together. Let's collaborate. Let's make each other's visions come true, because you only get one life and there's no time like the present. And also, if you happen to be somebody who's already in a position to facilitate things, if you're if you are a film producer and you'd like to talk about potentially putting up some money for a future project based on material that I present you, get in contact as well. Maybe we can be producing partners or something down the line. So look, I'm very, very serious. This is what I'm trying to do with the rest of my life. And I'm grateful in advance to all of you who connect with me on any level, and all of you who contribute to any forward progression that I'm able to create in my life. And in return, I will do everything in my power to help create forward progression in your life on your respective path as well. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll put another video up really soon where perhaps we talk about some other concepts of character. And then we could maybe dig in from there to plot and structure. And I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you. So have a great day, everybody, and talk to you later.